We are live.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as you're able and join me in the welcoming of City Council and the playing of the national anthem and the reading of the invocation.
Would you please remain standing if you're able as I read the invocation to begin tonight's meeting? As we come together today, we recognize the great responsibilities that are laid upon us. Our council will always strive to understand the needs of the people we serve and to use power wisely and well. Our purpose is to establish and maintain a city of prosperity and righteousness, where freedom prevails and where justice rules. We acknowledge the rich history of the land, which includes the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee peoples. Together, there are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples who live and work in the city. The intent of this acknowledgement is to recognize our responsibility to use and take care of these lands responsibly and respectfully, while remembering the generations past and considering the generations yet to come. We respect and seek to continue and promote the long-standing relationships with the area First Nations, Six Nations of the Grand River First Nation, and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Indigenous peoples who reside within the city of Brantford. Let us also not forget those who've served our community who are no longer with us, so we continue to do the work that we must in their memory. Please be seated. Mr. Clerk, would you please take the roll call?
Councillor Samwell.
Present.
Councillor Hunt.
Present.
Councillor Martin.
Here.
Councillor Caputo.
Present.
Councillor Sokoli.
Here.
Councillor Van Tilburg.
Here.
Councillor Carpenter.
Present.
Councillor Sluss.
Present.
Councillor McCurry.
Here.
Councillor Sullivan.
Present.
And Mayor Davis.
Here.
Through the chair, roll call's been taken.
Is there any member of council that has to declare a pecuniary interest regarding any item on this evening's agenda? If so, please physically raise your hand, whether you're here present or at home. Seeing no raised hands, we'll now go into deciding what items will be separated for tonight. We do have item 12.1.4, which is a background regarding public health mergers in Ontario. Councillor McCurry has asked that be separated. So are there any other items contained within the committee reports that council members want separated? Councillor Caputo.
12.1.8.
12.1.8. I think I can guess what that is. Colgate Road. Councillor Samwell.
So under the clerk's report on communications, I wanted 7.2, the downtown update.
Okay, so that's in respect to communications. We deal with that separately, but you're going to have a question you're telling us about a particular item.
Pardon?
So you're asking that we separate an item that's in risk to the clerk's report and communications.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I'd like to separate 12.2.1 and 12.5.1.
So 12.2.1, that's Waterworks Park. And 12 point. So you want it separated? So 12.5.1, that's the appointment of members of council. That's one of them.
Sorry, 12.2.10. 10, climate ready plan. Grant application.
Okay, all right. Climate ready, so it's 12.2.10 and 12.5.1, that's the appointments report.
Correct.
All righty. And I know we've got some more requests. I'll go to this side. Yes, Councilman Curry.
12.2.11.
That would be the request for download of King George Road. Okay. That's it. All right, so Council Martin, can you please move the motion to approve the items in the committee reports that have not been separated for discussion purposes?
Yes, I move seconded by Councilor McCurry that all items contained within the committee reports, items 12.1 to 12.5, not separated for discussion purposes, be approved.
Mr. Clerk, could you please read the title of the items that we're going to be voting on?
Through the chair, the following items are subject to the vote from the Committee of the Whole Operations Report. 12.11 Brantford Transit Moving Forward Final Report. 12.12 Cemetery Master Plan Summary and Recommendations. 12.13 Empowering Youth City Brantford Youth Strategy. 12.15 Healthy Aging Strategy. 12.16 Fire Route on Private Property. 12.17 Parkside Drive Traffic Safety Review. 12.19 West Brant Neighborhood Traffic Safety Review. 12.110 Special Olympics Ontario. 12.111 Remembrance Day Crosswalk from the Committee of the Whole Planning and Administration Report. 12.21 Waterworks Park Parking Lot Additional Funding. 12.22 Provincial Offenses Court Services. 12.23 Administrative Penalty System. 12.24 Adaptive Reuse Incentives for Designated Heritage Properties using the Downtown and Greyfields Community Improvement Plans. 12.25 Proposed Amendments to the Heritage Designation Bylaw. 12.26 City Operated Medical Clinic Projected Capital and Operating Costs. 12.27 Community Physician Recruitment Program. 12.28 Downtown Brantford Priority Plan. 12.29 Requests for the redistribution of provincial land transfer tax and GST to municipalities for sustainable infrastructure and funding. From the Finance Committee Report. 12.31 External Auditor Annual Dependence Letter, Engagement Letter, and Audit Plan. 12.32 Departmental Review of Parks, Recreation, and Facilities. 12.33 Quarterly Reserve and Reserve Fund Update. 12.34 Third Quarter Casino Update from the Planning Committee Report. 12.41 Zoning Bylaw Amendments. 816 Colborne Street. 12.42 Various Road Dedication Bylaws. 12.43 Wayne Gretzky Parkway Reserve Dedication and Lane Designation Bylaws. 12.44 West Brant Heights Phase 2 Subdivision Agreement from the Appointments Committee Report. 12.52 2023 to 2024 Council Attendance Report. And 12.53 Appointment of Citizen Members to various boards. All items not separated for discussion purposes carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor: Councilors Stolven, Celeste McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel Carpenter, Martin Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, so there are no statutory public hearings on the agenda tonight, but we do have a recognition of achievement, which I'll now present. But I'll move down to the delegates table to do that. Yes, I've been the mayor now for about 6 years, and one of the great pleasures I've had as mayor is dealing with some really very talented and dedicated city staff. And so tonight, we're recognizing a department that has outdone itself on many occasions, and it's part of the city operations that is just simply taken for granted, and that's our wastewater treatment plant, in particular wastewater operations team, which is part of our public works team led by Indrajit Hans. So city assumed operation of the wastewater treatment plant from the province in late 2015. The plant was constructed back in 1960. And since that time, 2015, the city's wastewater operations team has been operating that facility. And we did implement a new sewer use bylaw to reduce the loading on the system, and that did help improve performance. And the city, as part of the 29 other wastewater facilities in the Grand River watershed, is an active member of the Grand River Watershed-wide Wastewater Optimization Program, which has a recognition program that highlights facilities that meet and exceed the criteria laid down by the Ministry of Environment. And they actually rank various facilities. And for those that do exemplary, there is a gold, a silver, and bronze award. And the city achieved gold recognition in 2020, silver in 2021 and 2022, and now again in 2023, we achieved our rightful place as a gold medal winner. Now, what's important is that in achieving this, we met and exceeded performance targets for phosphorus and ammonia, which are now significantly lower from our wastewater treatment plant than what's required by the Ministry of Environment, Conservation, and Parks regulations. And I can tell you, as someone who is a dedicated fly fisher person that spends a lot of time wading through the Grand River, that's absolutely critical to maintaining the health of the watershed and also the fishery. And the wastewater team has consistently achieved performance targets. They've exceeded performance targets, and they've done that through operating a facility that's fairly old, from 1960, which we continue to update. But they've done that by the way in which they operate the facility and through the optimization of the chemical dosing. So I want to thank staff for their commitment to our city, to the facility they operate, and most importantly, to maintaining the health of our watershed. And I want to thank them for once again achieving gold medal status, which has us as the most optimum, most efficient facility in the watershed, and that's of the 29 facilities. So I'd like you to thank me or join me in welcoming the following staff who operate this system under the leadership of the Director of Environmental Services, Selvi Kangara. Come on up, Selvi. But every leader is only as good as the team that's underneath her. And that would be Tim Howarth, Manager of Wastewater Operations. Come on up, Tim. And Andrew Drinkwater, Supervisor of Wastewater Operations. Andrew, I bet I'm the first one that's talked about the appropriateness of your surname to yeah, I imagine I'm not. So not only have you given, not only is it you made the city proud that once again you've achieved gold medal status, you give me bragging rights when I go up to the GRCA board meetings, but what I'd like to do is a small token of appreciation, recognition, which of course is the priceless Mayor Certificate for your great achievement. Selvi. Let's give a big round of hand to our wastewater treatment staff. Well, there's more before you start taking those pictures. You're hiding the gifts I have for you. There you go, Selvi. This is some of the promotional material from the mayor's office, but it's the thought that counts. So thank you very much, Sylvia. It's a great way to start the meeting, celebrating some of our outstanding staff. Thank you. Okay, now back to the regular agenda. We're now moving to proclamations. We have one proclamation on tonight's agenda, somewhat unusual, just one. But Councillor Sikol, you have the resolution to approve the proclamation. Would you please read the resolution, state your seconder, and then you can actually go on to read proclamation 8.1.
Sounds good. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Sullivan, that the following proclamations be approved. 8.1, Project Red Ribbon, November 1st, 2024 to January 8th, 2025. And then the actual proclamation is, whereas Project Red Ribbon is a commitment made by Canadians to drive safe and sober. It is a highly visible community public awareness campaign which depends on volunteer participation to promote the message that deaths and injuries resulting from impaired driving are needless tragedies and totally preventable. Whereas each year from the beginning of November until the first Monday after New Year's, MAD Canada volunteers across the country distribute red ribbons and/or car decals and ask Canadians to display a red ribbon and/or car decal on their vehicle, keychain, or on a personal item like their purse, briefcase, or backpack. Whereas the MAD Canada red ribbon and/or car decal is a powerful symbol. By displaying the ribbon and/or car decal, you are making a personal commitment to drive sober. A red ribbon and/or car decal is also used to pay tribute to the thousands of Canadians who have lost their lives or have been injured as a result of impaired driving. The red ribbon and/or car decal also reinforces the message to drive sober throughout the holidays and the year. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford hereby proclaims November 1st, 2024 to January 8th, 2025 as Project Red Ribbon in the City of Brantford.
All right, I'll now call the vote on the proclamations.
The proclamation carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Celeste McCurry, Hunt, and Toborg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
So we have no presentations or delegations for this evening. So we'll move on to clerk's report and communications. Councillor Carpenter, would you please move the motion to receive the clerk's report and communications?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by my ward mate, Councillor Linda Hunt, that the clerk's report and communication for November 2024 be received.
All right, so I understand, Councillor Samuel, you wanted to highlight one item in particular.
Yeah, so I specifically just wanted to thank staff for the update for the downtown revitalization, and just, I know how much work has gone into getting us to this point. And just for the folks that are watching at home, I just wanted to assure you that the construction won't start until 2025. And even then, we're just looking at Brant Ave from Dalhousie to Colburn Street and ICOM Drive, from Colburn Street to Clarence Street South. And that's going to be in the spring of 2025. And then we're moving on to the other end towards Bain and Echo and Wharf Street there. And that's not till 2026, 27. And there's just going to be a lot more opportunities really for the community to get involved with key stakeholder engagements and neighborhood meetings and information sessions. And there's going to be a public information session in January. And obviously the downtown revitalization office is open and there's opportunities there to connect. And we just want to make sure that everybody knows that we're really going to keep everybody informed and involved. And even so much as we're going out and visiting businesses and all those kinds of things. So I just wanted to highlight that because not everybody would have looked at that report in that clerk's communications there. So I just wanted to highlight that. Thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote on the clerk's report and communications.
The clerk's report on communication carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows. Councilors Sullivan, Sless, McCreary, Hunt, and Toborg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, I'll now move to minutes. I believe Councillor Hunt, you have the motion to adopt the minutes listed on the agenda. If you please read your resolution and state your second.
Yes, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Carpenter, that the following minutes be adopted. City Council, October 29th, 2024. Special City Council, November 12th, 2024. Special City Council, Private and Confidential, November 12th, 2024. John Noble Home Committee of Management, November 13th, 2024. And the John Noble Home Committee of Management, Private and Confidential, November 13th, 2024.
All right, I'll now call the vote.
The minutes carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows. Councilors Sullivan, Sless, McCreary, Hunt, and Toborg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, so we'll now move to committee reports. Councillor Sless, I understand you have the motion to place all separate items on the floor for discussion.
So moved, Mr. Mayor, seconded by my ward mate, Councillor Caputo.
All right, so we'll take up the items as they appear in the agenda, those that were asked to be separated. And I believe the first item would be 12.1.4, the background regarding public health mergers. Councillor McCreary, you asked for this to be separated.
I did, yes, thank you. Well, I'm pleased to report that I am concluding my first year in my second tour of duty with the Brant County Health Unit. Folks may or may not know that it's comprised of representatives of the province of Ontario, City of Brantford, and the County of Brant. City of Brantford has 3 seats, County has 2, province of Ontario has 4. There's a merger which is imminent, but the information is embargoed and it's been largely carried on behind closed doors. So we're not at liberty yet to talk about who we're merging with or what the complement of representation will be with respect to the 3 or more partners for the new entity. And in my year, I want to just say that the senior leadership team and the staff at the Brant County Health Unit are second to none. They're all top notch. The leadership of the Health Unit Board, however, leaves a lot to be desired. For instance, we had an item on the agenda last meeting. Councillor Bell seconded my amendment to strip out $200,000 worth of unnecessary reserve accounts, some of which have been there for more than a decade and not been used. That was opposed by the chair, vice chair, and mayor of the county. It did pass by 1 vote. The senior folks with respect to the leadership of the Health Unit Board have incurred tens of thousands of dollars of lawyer costs to get advice with respect to denying legitimate freedom of information requests. That'll be something that will land in our costs in the coming year, I'm sure.
Okay, Councillor McCreary, I don't see how this relates to the agenda item. You're rehashing issues that are best dealt with the Health Unit. I'm ruling you out of order. Stick to what's in the agenda, which is talk about the merger.
I will challenge the ruling of the chair. I believe I have the right to speak to this item. If the chair is going to muzzle people, that's most unfortunate for what we do here.
It's not a question of muzzling. It's a question of keeping the discussion on point and in accordance with our rules of procedure. So, Mr. Clerk, if you would please put this to a vote. Just confirm how the vote.
Through the chair, the appeal of the decision of this chair requires a mover and a seconder.
So do you have a seconder? Councillor Martin. So just confirm for the members, what the vote signifies.
Through the chair, so the vote is that the decision of the chair be sustained. If you agree with the chair's ruling, vote yes. If you disagree with the chair's voting, vote no. Please note that a tie vote sustains the decision of the chair. The decision of the chair is sustained on a recorded vote of 7-4. Members of council vote in favor. Councillors Sullivan, Celeste, Hunt, Samuel, Carpenter, Sokoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councillors McCreary, Van Tilburg, Martin, and Caputo.
So Councillor McCreary, do you have anything relevant to say in respect to the item that's on the agenda, which is the merger? All right. Any further discussion? If not, I'll put it to a vote. Oh, sorry. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I just want to comment that because of the ruling of the chair, we're restricted to the merger, the details of which were in camera, so there really isn't anything to discuss. Might as well call the question now.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm calling the question.
Item 12.1.4 carries unanimously on recorded votes. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, we'll move to item 12.1.8, which is the Tollgate Road Neighborhood Traffic Safety Review. Councillor Caputo, you asked for this to be separated.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I do want to speak to this. It was an extensive conversation we had on this at the committee of the whole. And I'm still adamant on the fact that I do not want bike lanes on Tollgate Road. And I'm to the point where I believe that everything on Tollgate Road should be scrapped and we keep everything as the status quo.
I'll call the vote. Oh, sorry, Councilor Martin.
Yeah, thank you. Through the staff, has there been speed studies done on streets where bike lanes have been installed before and after?
Mark Chaplin, Director of Operational Services. Through the mayor, to you, Councilor Martin, there has been studies on those lanes. I don't have those results in front of me.
Do you remember if they were successful? Details on numbers?
So through the chair, bike lanes are not a form of traffic calming. It is just ultimately for the safety of the bikers. So I just don't have those numbers in front of me. I'd have to look them up if I could get them.
Okay, if you could send that to us in a memo, I'd appreciate it. Yeah. My understanding, the whole point of the bike lanes was for traffic calming, is to do what's called a road diet, to reduce the number of lanes. But if the ward councillors want to throw the entire traffic calming package that this report entails, I'll be happy to support them and remove all the traffic calming measures for that area. Thank you.
Councillor Sokol.
I see Councillor Slass wanted to talk before me. Do you want me?
Well,
to
if
go
you're willing to
first?
accede to Councillor Celeste, you can go next.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, our discussion that we had at Committee of the Whole certainly created a lot of phone calls, and I kept track, and I had 9 folks on Tollgate that are against this and 1 that spoke for it. So it's very apparent that the community that's directly involved wants no part of the bike lanes being put on their street. It was said to me, and I agree, when you've got 1 lane going in either direction, that's a main thoroughfare. And when you've got ambulances and emergency vehicles trying to negotiate that at certain times of the day, they're not going to get through. And it just creates havoc for everyone living there, and I guess for everyone that's trying to stay safe and allowing EMS to get to where they need to get to in a timely manner. So I would really encourage, I know, I think the vote was 7-4 in the last time we voted on this. And I would really encourage members to dig deep and think about what we're doing here and vote in the negative this evening. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Sikora.
Yes, I just have a question of staff. Who drove this study? So in my ward, we have neighborhood meetings, the feedback from the residents sort of help design what's being presented to council. Where did this come from? Who drove it? Was there consultation with the neighborhood before it got to this point?
Through the chair. Yeah, this is the same process we do for all the neighborhood reviews. So that included, there was some concerns that were raised regarding safety, and we did public engagement. We did a PIC, and we came up with the results, or we did an extensive review of the neighborhood, came up with some recommendations. We did send those out through Let's Talk Brantford. We did get a number of results back and questions and comments, and that's why we came up with the report.
Okay, thank you.
All right, not seeing any other raised. Oh, well, hang on. I think we got Councillor Carpenter. You're next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, I was getting my hand up late. I drive this piece of road every day, taking my grandson to St. John's. If there's a dangerous location, it's the entrance and exit to St. John, being that they cross each other. But anyways, there's not a lot of traffic on Tollgate Road on a regular basis, but during the hours of school letting in and letting out, Tollgate Road is pretty jam full. It's got a high school on Paris Road and another high school on Tollgate Road. And I think going to single lanes here would create a problem in that neighborhood of the schools. So I won't be supporting it.
Councillor Sullivan.
I was just letting you know that Richard wanted to speak.
Well, you can speak if you want. I'll speak to it once again. So, as I better time myself so I don't go beyond 5 minutes. So as we plan this city, we have to plan the city in terms of our infrastructure for what we see now, what is needed now, and what we think is going to be needed in the future. And it's clear, and also clear, that we have to design our road system for everyone who uses the road system. I mean, there's no question that most people in our community use cars. I think no one questions that. But, is that always going to be the case as the ownership of a vehicle becomes ever more expensive? And certainly my experience with those that young families, young people, those who are earning minimum wage, many of them can't afford even transit. And they often use bikes. I see them every morning on Glenwood Drive, which runs parallel to Colburn Street East. I see them in the morning using Glenwood Drives. They don't feel comfortable using Colburn Street, traveling to their employment in Taynesville. And what we've tried to do with the bike lane system in Brantford is create at least 2 north-south continuous routes and at least 1 east-west, so that those who use bikes and depend on bikes can do so safely. And we do have 2 north-south. We have Wayne Gretzky Parkway, the bike lane there. And we also, of course, have Memorial Drive, North Park Street, and then going down, I think it's Pearl or William. In terms of east-west, we really do not have in our city a system that is a continuous bike lane path that can take people east-west. Our largest employment area is the Northwest. And if you talk to the employers in that area, many of their employees ride bikes. And I think it's important that we have a system that takes care of everybody and provides for at least 1 east-west route in our system. I don't know where else you'd put it if you're going to focus on serving the employment lands in the Northwest. I recognize that, there is a need for EMS on Tollgate Road, but they get that. There'll be a turn lane right down the middle, so there'll be a path for EMS. If you don't do it, what are you saying? You're saying our city is not designed for those who use bikes or electric scooters to get around. And, frankly, if vehicle ownership continues to grow ever more expensive, and if we ever see Mr. Trump's 25 tariffs, I think you're gonna see a lot more people using bikes. And that's what you have to do. You have to plan for the future and you have to plan for every mode of transportation. And as I said, this is one way to help deal with, some of the traffic, crisis that we have, and that's to encourage other methods of transportation. And if you aren't going to at least have one east-west lane, the message is, if you ride a bike, don't live in Brantford or work in Brantford. And I don't think that's a message we really want to send. So I appreciate the concerns of those who live on Tollgate Road, but those who live in a roadway, certainly their voice is important, but it should not be the only factor in determining how a road is set up, configured, and designed. So I will maintain the vote that I cast 2 weeks ago, and I will vote in favor of the Tollgate Road report. Councillor Van Tilburg.
Perhaps someone can refresh my memory. Is this review and change into the road system a result or associated with the incident of a school bus hitting a pedestrian in the area? Was that one of the factors behind this book?
Through the chair, that's what actually started the review of that safety area, was that accident that did occur, I believe it was on Ewing Drive.
Okay.
Right at the corner.
Thank you very much. I see a number of things here. This is a fairly big issue for the area. The safety of what's happening on that road and all the children crossing. This is a major concern. I saw that all over social media when it happened, and I knew that they were doing these studies. But there is a conflict, it would appear, between what the residents are seeking. I hear the ward councillor saying to scrap the whole thing. I would have felt more comfortable if there had been a position that could address the safety issues that were brought forth by the accident that had occurred. I have a feeling that if this passes, those safety measures will entail, and you'll have bike lanes. And if this fails, I also have a belief that this will have to come back to us in some manner to address the issues regarding that's the safety. So I'm a little bit where I like to go with the ward councillors on the knowledge that they have, the impetus behind this. They're the ones that are gonna have to face the music on the safety aspect and not being done. I believe that it was wanted to be done by the residents sooner rather than later. But again, I do believe that this is a one for the ward councillors to stick handle, and it'll come back to them and then probably come back to us. If not, perhaps we might want to seek a deferral.
I don't see that on the floor. I'm going to call the vote unless, call the vote. You can't speak twice unless you're moving an amendment. All right, so I'm going to call the vote.
Item 12.1.8 is lost on recorded vote of 229. Members of council voting for, Mayor Davis, Councillor Hunt. Members opposed, Councillors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, and Sokoli.
We'll move on to item 12.2.1, which is the Waterworks Park parking lot additional funding. Councillor Martin, you asked for this to be separated.
No, I was after 12.2.10.
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Unfortunately, the zero got lost on my notes.
Yeah, well, that's actually next, so we can go ahead with the climate ready application.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on this. This is a application for funding to do a study to have a climate action plan. And the big thing about that action plan is that then allows us to apply for additional grants to implement items of that plan. So this is just the first step. Hopefully we'll be successful in receiving this grant, and it'll lead to additional grants that will help us become more adapted to the coming climate change effects that we'll be seeing. Hopefully dealing with increasing stormwater situations so that we don't have so much flooding in people's basements and that kind of thing. So hopefully we get this first step and it leads to additional steps as well. So I'm quite hopeful that this will pass.
All right, call the vote.
Item 12.2.10 carries unanimously and recorded vote of 10-0, noting Councillor Sokoli was not present in the room at the time of the vote. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillor Sullivan, Celeste McCreary, Hunt, and Toborg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, and Mayor Davis.
All right, we'll move to the next item that was separated, 12.2.11. The request for the download of King George Road. Councillor McCreary, you asked for this to be separated.
Through you to staff, is there any estimate with respect to what the cost to the municipality will be on an annual basis for maintenance, and what the 10-year forecast would be for capital for us to assume this provincial highway?
The chair, not as of yet, Councillor McCreary. We'd have to work with MTO to understand if there's anything that they still want to have under their asset versus ours. So I'd have to put those numbers together.
Could you reference from memory perhaps what the cost of maintaining Gretzky Parkway would be for a similar distance?
I don't have the per kilometer cost on me today in terms of what our maintenance would be. It varies depending on the road condition and the assets you have on that road. So with Gretzky, in terms of how urbanized it is versus this area, I think it wouldn't be a apples to apples comparison per kilometer.
So that was never requested in preparation of the resolution that's before us then. Okay.
No.
So be seeking a seconder to amend this to request from the province, as well as the download, to request ongoing maintenance funds from their maintenance account for a 10-year period, as well as capital funds for a 10-year period as well. The seconder, Councillor Martin.
So just to clarify. So it's to include a request to the ministry that they contribute the cost of maintenance and capital.
Correct.
Good. Okay. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, call the vote.
The amendment carries and recorded vote of 10-1. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillor Sullivan, Caputo, Celeste, Martin, McCreary, Carpenter, Hunt, Samuel, and Toborg. Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councillor Sokoli.
Any discussion on the resolution as amended? Seeing none, I'll call the vote on the amended resolution.
Item 12.2.11 as amended carries unanimously on recorded vote. Members of council voting in favor: Councillor Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Hunt, Van Toborg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, I'll move to the last item that was separated for discussion. That's 12.5.1, the appointments report. Councillor Martin, you asked for this to be separated.
Yes, thank you. I wasn't able to have internet access when this meeting was going on, so I tried to log in with my phone. Unfortunately, I didn't get a participants code that would allow me to take part in the meeting. I was only allowed to watch it and was muted for the meeting. And so because of that, I was able to sit there and listen to votes, but I wasn't able to cast my own vote. So what I'd like to do is defer 12.5.1A to the next in-camera meeting so that we can have proper discussion and members of council can have the votes that they deserve. Because I believe that Councillor Sless and Councillor Hunt were unable to attend the meeting as well. So I think it'd be prudent to have all members of council have the opportunity to vote on these important appointments. So I'll be moving a deferral to the next in-camera meeting, seeking a seconder. Councillor McCurry, thank you.
Councillor Perry. If I can ask the clerk, when would the next in-camera meeting be? So we know time and place.
Through the chair, so the appointments for committees and task forces for members of council is actually done in open session. We didn't meet in closed session, so it'd be an appointments committee meeting, which we could schedule at the call of the chair.
Yeah, that's correct. It was only the citizen appointments we did in camera. So you have a motion to defer it to when then?
To the next appointments committee meeting, as soon as that can be called.
And Mr. Clerk, when would that be?
Through the chair, we'll have to look at the schedule of meetings, but we can make something work before the end of the year.
Okay. So a motion to defer is not debatable other than to time and place. Councillor Carpenter.
Can I get some clarification? That will it not be a motion to reconsider then if we're going to redo it?
Yep, I believe it would be. I think that's correct, although the decision is not final though until council considers it, right? So this is like a committee of the whole making a recommendation to council. So there really hasn't been a final decision.
Thank you.
Okay. So with that, that clarification, I'll call the vote. So this would be to defer. This would be the vote only in respect to you're asking for all of the appointments be deferred until then?
Yeah, well, section A, the appointments for members of council to various boards and committees.
Okay. And that would be to a date sometime in the next cycle in December. Okay. So I'll call the vote on that.
The deferral of the appointments committee report is laws and recorded vote of 4-7. Members voting in favor, Councillors Sless, McCurry, Martin, Samuel. Members opposed, Councillors Sullivan, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Carpenter, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
So it's not being deferred. So we do have the appointments committee report on the floor. I'll now call the vote on the appointments committee report. Yes. All right. So item A would be the police services board. Is that correct? First, I'll call the vote on all of the appointments other than the police services board. Okay. Well, we have to have a vote on all of the other appointments. So you've asked for the appointment in respect to the police services board to be separated. We'll do that. So what we still have
I
to do.
never once mentioned the police services board.
Well, I think A is that.
A says council to various committees, boards and task force.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll deal with all of them except A. Okay.
The recorded vote on clauses B and C carries on recorded vote of 10-1. Members of council vote in favor, Councillors Van Tilburg, Samuel, Hunt, Carpenter, McCurry, Sless, Caputo, Sullivan, Sokoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councillor Martin.
Yeah, we'll have the vote now for A.
Clause A of item 12.5.1 carries on recorded vote of 10-1. Members of council voting in favor, Councillors Van Tilburg, Samuel, Hunt, Carpenter, McCurry, Sless, Caputo, Sullivan, Sokoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councillor Martin.
If I might speak to a point of order, Chair, would it be,
There's nothing on the floor right now that would call a point of order.
would it
We
be,
just had our vote. You're out of order.
would it be appropriate to read the names of the appointees?
They'll be contained in the clerk's report. We've already dealt with it. We'll move on to the next item, which is urgent reports. There's one urgent report on the agenda. Council Van Tilburg, you please move the motion for 13.1 and state your second.
Moved by myself, seconded by my ward mate, Counselor Samwell. 2025 shared social services budget approval. Financial impact $19,205,188. Operating budget $3,973,829 for 2024. For move that report 2024-708 titled 2025 shared social services budget approval be received. B, that the following 2025 budget be approved. BI, shared social services operating budget $19,205,188. Number two, shared social service capital budget $3,973,829. C, that the Director of Housing and Homeless and the Purchasing Officer be authorized to award the 2025 capital project contained herein in accordance with the City of Brantford's purchasing policy. And D, that the city clerk be directed to deliver the final shared services budget to the county on or before December 1st, 2024.
So any discussion on this item, since we haven't dealt with it before? There's two speaking opportunities, 4 minutes each, if you so desire. All right. I'm still looking for someone to tell me what a great job I'm doing chairing tonight. But we'll let that
You're doing
go.
a great job.
So I'll call the vote.
Item 13.1 carries unanimous and a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council vote in favor. Councilors Sullivan, Celeste, McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sicoli, and Mayor Davis.
Okay, we're now moving on to resolutions, and Councillor Sullivan, I believe you have the motion 14.1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, moved by myself, seconded by my ward mate, Councillor Sicoli, that council ratify the settlement reached between the corporation of the city of Brantford and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 636, Unit 41 for renewal of the collective agreement to cover the period of January 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2028.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
Item 14.1 carries unanimous and recorded vote. Members of council voting in favor are as follows. Councillor Sullivan, Celeste, McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sicoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, Councillor Samuel, and you have the motion for 14.2 disposition of underutilized city-owned properties.
Yep, so moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Van Tilburg, that council approves the listing for sale of the following properties: 10 Marlene Avenue, the two lots to be severed from 5 Marlene Avenue, and that staff be authorized to take all the necessary actions to dispose of the following vacant properties separately and that individually of each other, which includes marketing, listing, obtaining reference plans, depositing surveys to retain external real estate agents and waive the requirements of purchase policy for the purpose and signing any and all documents required to undertake the above. Thank you.
Any discussion? Councillor Carpenter.
Yes, I have a question for staff. What is the process to retain external real estate agents?
So through the chair, Ray Petro, manager of real estate services. Right now, we're working on an internal list that we have here. We look at local agents. We look at agents that have the appropriate experience to list and market the properties that we're selling.
So we have not all agents are on the list,
That is correct.
and you rotate the list around then?
We do.
Could you provide us with a copy of the list, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll call the vote.
Item 14.2 carries unanimously on recorded votes. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councilors Sullivan, Celeste, McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis.
Okay, the third and last resolution, 14.3, the acquisition of property at 57 Charlotte Street. Councilor McCurry, that's your motion.
I'm the mover, Councilor Martin is the seconder. The resolution reads as follows: that the agreement of purchase and sale of the acquisition of 57 Charlotte Street for $1.6 million plus land transfer tax costs of $28,475 for a total upset limit of $1.628475 to be funded from the capital funding envelope reserve RF 0556. And the staff be authorized to sign any and all documents necessary to complete the acquisition, and that the city clerk be directed to place the agreement of purchase and sale between the corporation of the city of Brantford and the vendor on the signing bylaw for execution by the mayor and city clerk, and the staff be authorized to execute a nominal lease between the corporation of the city of Brantford and the Brant Historical Society for a 5-year term with one option to extend for an additional 5 years. And speaking to this is a big day for our community. And I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that Councillor Utley, former Councillor John Utley of the beautiful Second Ward is in attendance tonight. And he's representing the board of the Brant Historical Society, Brant Museum and Archives. As I said, it's an important day because we are making a giant leap today towards the sustainability of the Brant Archives and Museum. We do so in recognition of the financial challenges that these folks have faced for donkey's years in terms of being able to provide everything to keep the lights on, to keep the HVAC system running, to keep the water running, and yet still be able to employ staff and pay the staff a decent wage. So this is a big step forward for us tonight as a community. It puts the Brant Museum and Archives on a more or less equal footing with the Canadian Military Heritage Museum, who reside in a city building and have not faced the same kind of challenges that the Brant Historical Society has faced in trying to maintain and operate their building. You know, it's a burden to them today to have tried to balance these needs and at the same time trying to deal with the odd thing that causes them no end of grief and hiccups. So by doing this tonight, we safeguard our past and we safeguard our future, because these are the folks that are responsible for, you know, I guess safeguarding our physical collection of reminders of our past, our collection, our history. They're also the folks who safeguard the images of our past, the photo collection, the archives, the documents. They tell the Brantford story, and this is going to allow them to tell the Brantford story in a more secure fashion, devoting all their energies to that most important part of what they do, rather than, as I said, having to worry about keeping the lights on and the grass cut. Were we not to support this tonight, it puts everything at risk. It puts the collection at risk. It puts our community at risk with respect to our own story. So we also safeguard our future by acquiring a building that's a heritage asset. It's in pretty decent shape. We've got a list of some of the improvements that need to be made over the next decade or so. And we're going to make those as we need to. And at the end of, you know, the term of lease, we're going to have an asset that we can repurpose to, you know, perhaps provide housing or to sell for another use in the downtown core. In the new year, we plan to bring a resolution which will address the long-term needs of some of the organizations in our arts, culture, and museum community by looking towards a future facility that will allow us to operate a number of these type things under one roof. And that's a study that we'll be prepared to get onto in the new year. So until then, until we reach that point, and hopefully the next 5 to 10 years, this museum can operate free from the financial pressures that have plagued them for the near past, for the distant past, and they'll be able to continue to excel in the function of telling the Brantford story and safeguarding our history. So John, I hope you'll take our words back to the rest of your board. And hopefully this will be a unanimous vote tonight to support our community partner, Grant Historical Society, and help them do the good work that they do and continue on their mission. So thank you.
All right, seeing no further speakers, I'll call the vote.
Item 14.3 carries and recorded vote of a 10-1. Members of council vote in favor. Councillor Sullivan, Celeste McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councillor Carpenter.
All right, that deals with the resolutions. So we don't have any notices of motion. Reminder, the next notice of motion deadline is Thursday, November 28th at 9 a.m. sharp. Move into bylaws. And I believe Councillor Carpenter, as Mayor of the Month, you have the honor to read the very long list of bylaws this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and you are doing a fine job today. It's moved by myself as a mover and seconded by Councillor Hunt. That we introduce the following bylaws for first and second reading. Bylaw 153 in the year 2024 to amend the bylaw number 148-88 being a bylaw to regulate parking in the city of Brantford. Bylaw 154 in the year 2024 is a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy to provide for the payment of taxes for the year 2025. Bylaw 155 in the year 2025 is a bylaw to amend bylaw 021/2024 being a bylaw to fix fees and charges to be collected by the corporate city of Brantford for 2024-2027. 156 in the year 2024 is a bylaw to amend parking bylaw 144-88 being a bylaw to regulate the parking in the city of Brantford. Bylaw 157 in the year 24 to amend parking bylaw 144-88 being a bylaw to regulate parking in the city of Brantford. Bylaw 158 in the year 24 is to amend traffic bylaw 37-88 being a bylaw to regulate traffic in the city of Brantford. Bylaw 159 in the year 2024 is
Councillor Carpenter, 159, we're pulling that. That's Tollgate Road.
Oh, right, that's been taken out. Thank you. Bylaw 160 in the year 2024 to amend parking bylaw 144-8 being bylaw to regulate parking in the city of Brantford, West Brant. Bylaw 161/2024 is a bylaw to amend traffic bylaw 37-8 being bylaw to regulate traffic city of Brantford, West Brant. 162/2024 being a bylaw to establish a building faster fund reserve fund. Bylaw 163 in the year 2024 is a bylaw to declare and dedicate reserve block 135 registered plan 2M-1892. 164/24 being a bylaw to declare and dedicate reserve block 43 registered plan 2M-1879. Bylaw 165 in the year 2024 is being a bylaw to change the name of Rudd Street to Rudd Way. Thank you for that. Bylaw 166 in the year 2024, Wayne Gretzky Parkway 0.3 meter reserve dedication and land designation bylaw. 167 in the year 2024 is Wayne Gretzky Parkway 0.3 reserve dedication and lane designation bylaw, traffic bylaw amendment schedule 5. Bylaw 168 in the year 2024 being a bylaw to declare and dedicate reserve block 119 registered plan 2M-1978. Bylaw 169 being a bylaw to declare and dedicate reserve block 122 registered plan 2M-1978. Bylaw 170 in the year 2024 being a bylaw to declare and dedicate parts of block 5 care track. 171/2024 being a bylaw to declare and dedicate parts of block 5 care track. Bylaw 172 being a bylaw to declare and dedicate part of block 5 care track. Bylaw 173 in the year 2024 being a bylaw to declare and dedicate part of block 5 care track. Bylaw 174 in the year 2024 appointment of members of council to various committees, boards, advisory committees, and task force. Bylaw 175 in the year 2024 appoint citizen members to various boards. Bylaw 176 being a bylaw to approve the purchase of lands known as 57 Charlotte Street in the city of Brantford. Bylaw 177 in the year 2024 being a bylaw to authorize execution of agreements individually dated and listed Schedule A attached thereto, West Brant Heights 2 subdivision agreement, and the agreement to purchase and sale between the city of Brantford, Brant Historical Society, 57 Charlotte Street, and 178, finally 178, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council on the corporate city of Brantford with respect to the meeting held today, November 26, 2024. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody want any of these bylaws separated for discussion purposes of first and second reading? Not seeing any such requests, I'll call the vote.
The first and second reading of all bylaws carries unanimously on recorded votes. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillor Sullivan, Celeste McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel Carpenter, Mark, Kudo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis.
There we go. Turn my button up. So Councilor Caputo, I believe you've got the resolution for third reading.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Sluss, that all bylaws having received a first and second reading be taken as read a third time and finally passed and signed by the mayor and clerk.
Any requests for separation? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
The third and final reading of all bylaws not separated for discussion purposes carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillor Sullivan, Celeste McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel Carpenter, Mark, Kudo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis.
Right, well, the clerk and I are signing the bylaws. We'll move to ward announcements. And I feel so badly for the councillors from Ward 3 that they always seem to get caught in the middle of the order that I follow. But I'm going to start with Ward 3 and Councillor Martin. Any ward announcements for Ward 3?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Actually, I do have one word announcement. On Monday, December 2nd at 9 a.m. at the Wayne Gretzky Sports Center, there'll be the official unveiling of the stilt walking display. So it'll be a celebration of Doug Hunt recapturing his record as the for the Guinness record for walking on stilts. And if you want to congratulate Doug, come on out and wish him well and congratulate him, and hopefully it'll be a well-attended event. Also, we're coming to the end of November. So guys, if you haven't had a PSA test done in a while, make sure you book one. Ladies, if you haven't had a PAP or a mammogram, make sure you get that booked. Because the secret to beating cancer is to catch it early and fight hard. Thank you.
Councilor Curry.
I would like to add to that announcement that Councillor Martin has embarked again upon his fundraising campaign. And you can find him, he should probably jump back on when I finish so he can tell you exactly how to find his fundraising campaign. Councillor Martin raises thousands of dollars every year to support men's health. And he's too modest to tell you all that.
Councilor Caputo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had the pleasure last night of attending the Brantford Station Neighborhood Association. It was a great meeting last night and a lot of plans that they've got going forward through the neighborhood for not only the Christmas season, but leading into spring and summer. And I look forward to having them be a part of our winter festival, as well as planning stuff for their summer festival. The Homedale Association will be having their annual holiday fun and food drive December 6th and December 7th between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. at Christ the King School. We're collecting for Brantford Food Bank, make a cash donation and sign a star. So please feel free to join them. There's going to be Santa and Mrs. Claus, as well as free hot chocolate. And also this Friday evening will be the lighting of the lights at Glenhurst, and great event if you haven't been there. And a wonderful way to set off the season. And again, this Saturday night is also the Santa Claus Parade. So we go from lighting of lights to walking with Santa. Have a wonderful evening, folks.
Councillor Sluss.
My two announcements were taken by Councillor Caputo. The Ward 2 is certainly opening its doors to the rest of the city to come and enjoy the lights at Glenhurst. The official light up is at 7 o'clock on Friday evening. And conversely, the Santa Claus Parade, I forget the number now, but it's been quite a number of years, consecutive years that we've had the parade in Brantford. It's an evening parade. I believe it starts at 6 o'clock and ends at Harmony Square, where there will be an official street tree lighting and festivities to take place after the parade. So everyone is welcome and bundle up and come and enjoy the season.
Councillor Sakoli.
All of my announcements have been taken, but I thought I'd take this opportunity to let you know what a wonderful job you're doing in chairing this meeting this evening.
Councillor Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to bring to everyone's attention that on December 7th at 12 o'clock till 2, there will be a free skate that Councillor Samuel and myself are putting on. There won't be one at Lions Park this year because we're going to do it at the Civic Center. There will be free hot chocolate. There'll be a meet and greet with Bruiser. Might be some special guests. Wear an ugly sweater. You will get a draw ticket for a Bulldogs prize pack. Thanks.
What was that date again?
December 7th at 12 o'clock.
Excellent. So we'll go to Councillor Samuel.
Thank you. To add to that, I just want to remind people that you can also have your photo taken with Santa and Mrs. Claus. And in addition to that, I wanted to remind people about the Eastward Echo Place Neighborhood Association Handmade Market this Saturday at Woodman at 10 a.m. Also, the Downtown Central Neighborhood Association is hosting a community Christmas December 10th at the Sanderson Center from 5 to 8. And the Eagle Place Community Association is hosting an Eagle Place Holiday Wonderland December 14th, 2 to 4, and registration's required for that one. Thank you.
Councillor Van Tilburg. Councillor Hunt.
A couple of things. The Brandland Neighborhood Association is holding their annual Breakfast with Santa this Saturday, November 30th from 9 to 12 at the Brandland Community Center. We have a neighborhood meeting tomorrow evening, also at the Brandland Community Center regarding the Linden Garden subdivision at 299 Linden Road. And on a personal note, Greg and I were thrilled to welcome our first grandchild on October the 27th. So Lawson Paul Hunt is the first grandchild for Greg and I. So we're thrilled. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Councillor Hunt. That's great. So last word announcements, over to you, Councillor Carpenter.
Well, my word announcements, both neighborhood associations have been taken, but I just want to remind everybody the Santa Claus Parade this Saturday, as was already announced, but bring some perishable food items, non-perishable food items, and provide them for people that need food. This year, more than ever, there are more and more people in our community that could use the food. So, and if you can't bring food, it's okay to donate some funds to the food bank. Thank you.
So lastly, I wanted to thank you, Councillor Carpenter. You've been Mayor of the Month, and in November, I've had an extremely heavy schedule, probably more so than most months, and have had a number of commitments in Toronto. So I want to thank you for filling in without complaint and without fail. I very much appreciate it. So with that, I'm going to call to order this last meeting of the month of November.